obviously going to therapy was like such a massive thing. I mean, I'm probably the biggest advocate for that of all things. I luckily have such a great therapist, but it took me a while to find her too. I had to go through a couple like weird sessions that I didn't like, and I was like, this didn't vibe with me. But once I found someone like I could really talk to and trust and everything, and that was at my darkest point. The day I had an appointment with her was my like darkest, definitely suicidal day. And I walked into her office and she's like, what do you want from me? And I was like, I need to trust you. And I need to trust you so much that I'll never lie to you, like ever. And I need to know that. And she's like, well, how can I show you that? I was like, I don't know. I just need to know. And then we built that. So it was cool. And it's been great. Yeah, it takes a lot of effort. That's for sure.
Everything right there, that is what's not talked about enough at all. And like the thing that I love and I'm drawn towards is I love seeing people who show that, because I don't know, all those big people, they talk a lot about what success isn't a straight line, but they never show you anything
they don't.
other than the straight line. And it's like, well, okay, that's cool, but I want to see you fall on your face. I want to hear about how you failed, because if not, when I'm walking around, I feel like a failure, because it's like, oh, they can do it, but what's wrong with me? And even, especially with the therapy thing, I love that you said I'm an advocate for it, but it took time for me to find a good one. That's not talked about enough either. Most of my life, I was forced to go to therapy. I didn't want to go. And I had some really awful therapists. I had a therapist that encouraged me to stay with my abusive boyfriend. I love that you said, trust you enough that I'll never lie to you. Because I don't think people understand how easy it is to make it look like you're giving the right answer. And that was the thing for me. It's like, I can manipulate anyone into thinking that I'm doing good. I can say it. But if someone can't see through the BS, it's pointless. And I never, up until this point, because I'm got the balls to go and do it now and actually find a therapist, but that's not talked about enough. This stuff is not talked about enough at all.
Yeah, I agree. And like having gone through it, because I have ADHD and I tend to have like hyper focus and obsessions too. When I find something I like, I obsess and I will go all in. And I'm a put all my eggs in one basket. I hit the ground running. So when I was like, I am fucking determined to get better. I read a ton of books. I read for a living. Like that's how I make money is through audiobooks. And it just so happened to be that like the last few years have been nothing but self-help books for the most part, because it's a big industry now. I'm constantly just absorbing like all this information. So I'm taking notes like too. I'm just like, oh, that's a good one. I'm going to implement that or try this or this and this. One of them was like, if you can't find a real life mentor, then just take from someone's life that you admire and see what they did. Like, how did they get there? So that's something that I do often, but they don't. It's true. They don't show you that shit. Tony Robbins, Gary Vee, like, all those people like on the top, they're packaging themselves really well. And it's true, because that's what they're selling you. And they don't necessarily, now it's becoming more like, if I don't know if you follow any of them, but like some of their content has become more like, we do fall off. Like, like now Gary Vee's like, well, I don't work on weekends. That's part of it. And you're like, okay, well now you tell us that the hustle is taking time off too. Because that's not how it was perceived a few years ago. It was grind till you die. And now here you have all these people, they got freaking burnout. They're not taking care of their health. They're not taking care of their mental health. They're just like success, grind. I want to be part of the people that's like, yeah, I'm 90%, I think, is a good estimate of how I feel good. Like 90% of the time, 90% of my month is like good days. 10% still were like, no, not today. Like, I'm not getting up out of bed. I don't feel like it. I don't fucking want to. I know that I'm capable of a lot. But today I don't fucking want to be. I'm going to feel my feelings. I'm not going to neglect things. That's important. I'm not going to suppress shit. That's important. So many people show you just like, especially with social media and only seeing influencers. I think that the greatest impact is being relatable and being real and leading by example. That's why I want to be more open. And it is, you kind of have to be an open book in that sense. I can do it a lot of the times, but when you have that pressure of the people will create this perfection idea of you, then yeah, it like fucks you up in your head to where like you feel like, say on that day I didn't want to get out of bed and do my run and do my meditation or whatever for social media. But like, if I faked it, then like people are going to think that is, if it's not true, you know, like I don't post inspirational quotes on days I don't feel inspired. I don't post like affirmations on days where I don't fucking feel like that. I don't feel fake. I don't want to feel fake or give that idea off to other people.
One, regarding those people, I think I love that stuff's coming out because they're being called out, because people are like, we're following you and we're all burnt out. So there's obviously, you're not superhuman. So obviously you need to be like a little bit more honest. But the thing that I wanted to really focus on is the fact that when you said, I'm not going to suppress shit, like I'm not going to do that. So today's going to suck. And that's the thing for me. I did not allow myself to feel anything for years because I was so scared. I was like, because if I let myself feel, then I'm going to be a mess and then I'm going to stay a mess because everything is just horrible. But what a lot of people don't realize is that, you may be a mess for a day, for a week, for a month, but that's still a blip in your life. It's so much better to like feel your feelings as much as it sucks. I'm not a fan of the feels. Okay. My idea of a romantic movie is Deadpool. I'm not a fan of the feels, but letting myself feel those things has made it to where I don't carry this blanket of like this weighted blanket around my head anymore. Now it's like, okay, here's a month that sucks, but man, the rest of the year is going to be really fucking awesome.
Yeah. And honestly, like, I think now when it comes up, I'm just like, okay, oh, this is what we're doing this, or let's get it over with. As opposed to like, I'm not suppressing this shit. I don't want to deal with this in a month. Let's just do this now. Let's go through it. It's a lot easier. And I think it should really be compared in the long term, because when I reflect on 10% happiness is what I used to feel versus now 90%, I'm like, damn. And I remember kind of joking about it like way back when I didn't, when I was at my 10% and being like, well, I'm 29 days. I had one day this month where I felt decent. And I would joke about it, like, but like that was true. I was like, better than 30. Then the next month, and I was like, dude, 3 days this month. Woo! And I'd be like celebrating and kind of laughing about it because I'm like, wow, I'm so depressed, you know, like I only had 3 days of happiness probably in this entire month. It was a progression and it kept going. And I was like, oh shit. And life ebbs and flows. Without the negative, there would be no positive.